Conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, good morning. Any doubts from previous topics? We are in reports. In our last session, we have discussed how do we work with events as well as hierarchical reports. And inside that report, if you have seen, we have used a type group called sys, those related information in our program. So I don't know how many are aware of this concept called type groups. And for them, let me introduce about this concept one more time, and then we will start a new concept called conversions and interfaces. So what is this type groups? Type groups, which is one of data dictionary repository object, which is used to create global data types. To create a global data types, we use this type group. By using these type groups, you can create global data types as well as global constants. So what is this global data types, global constants? For example, you are creating a program to perform arithmetic calculations. Now, you know to perform arithmetic calculations, what we have to create? Data objects. Data n1 type I. So here n1 is a data object which is created using data keyword, and I is the data type which is referring to the data object. Now your data object only accept integer values, and that too a memory allocated for this data object that depends on the length what you have given. So if you are not given any length, then it is taken a default length from the data type. Now this is a data type I which is created by SAP. Who created? This is created by SAP, and you are using this data type wherever you need a data object to be created to store the data. And as like SAP, you have options. You can also create a global data type, which means data n1 type g type group underscore I. So here if you see, what is this g type group underscore I? This is a data type which is created using type groups. You can create this gtgrp underscore I using type group concept. You can go to S11 and create this type group, and you will create like this types gtgrp underscore I followed by type I. So here you are creating your own data type. Now this data type which is referring integer, and you can use this data type wherever you need integer data types in your program. So you may have a doubt, already we have integer which SAP is given, again why we are using this say data type which we created with same reference. So sometimes we used to go with our own data types, where standard SAP given data types will be, we need to use it in multiple places as a combined. Example is like SLIS. If you go to SLIS, there are many data types are created and many constants are created. So we are simply using those data types. So now we will go to our SAP screen. From SAP screen, I'll show you these data types, how we can create and how we can use it in our program. Let me log in into SAP. Let me check with the server team. It is not working. Let's see, I just messaged them. I don't know why it is not working. Okay, we'll continue with this Excel explanation itself and then we'll see. So When you open SC11, you'll see a radio button where you have an option type group. So if you select this type group, then system it will ask you to enter type group name starting with either G or Y. Let's if I given type group name like this G Sanjay type group, then you can go inside and then you can create your data objects. And I'm creating a data object. I'm creating a data type using a data types keyword. So only one thing you need to remember, using type group components, only you can create data types and constants globally. We cannot create any other thing using type group. So data type you can create using types keyword. So types begin of ty. So always remember your type group name must starts with your names, whatever you create here data types, that must starts with your type group name. Otherwise system will throw error. So I'll give like this Sanjay type group. So always your names inside your type group, which always has to starts with type group underscore underscore followed by customer and end of followed by GSTY. So in between you can create your one second, let me check this. Kunnar type k-neon hyphen Kunnar land one type k-neon land one. So now this type, which is nothing but it's a structure here. So what is structure? Structure is logically related components, logically related fields. When we have more than one, then that is called structure. So in data dictionary, if you open any table, let's say customer master table, when you check inside the table, we have customer ID and customer country, and we have data inside table. So here what is the structure and what is the data? So structure is customer ID and customer country, and this is data. So this structure we can create programmatically using types keyword. So when you use types, you can create your structure using beginOf and endOf. And now what happened through program, you can use this structure to enter your data. So you have your program. So in the program, you wanted to use this structure to store the data. Then you will use data keyword and followed by data object ls structure ls underscore customer and a type followed by this structure name. Then what happened? Your data object which is created by system in application layer with fields Kunar and land one, and structure it will accept always at a time only one record K001 India. This is what structure. And for example, if I created structure using table, so here I am using type followed by CUST. Let's assume our table is also have one more field city, and this is India, sorry, Hyderabad and Hyderabad. So now what will happen when you are referring your structure with data dictionary object table, then your structure will be created using customer ID and country and then city, and it is ready to accept only one value at a time. So what is the difference between this referring to a table as well as referring to a structure which you have created programmatically? So always which both are referring components inside the structure. If you are using table, in table whatever the structure it is holding, that structure reference will be given to your data object. And if you are referring a structure which you have created globally, this structure what are the components it has, it will be refer. And always a structure can accommodate only single value at a time using your structure. And this data followed by data object type followed by what data type. So this is a data type and this will also a data type, both. So both data types are dictionary data types, and this one you have created using type group component, and this one you have created using table option. So now this is one way you can create your structure and use it in the program wherever you want. Now my requirement is I wanted to add multiple records in the program level, not single record. Then we have to create internal table. So how you can create internal table? Lt cust, and here the keyword is you have to use type table of followed by your same structure. So whenever you have used type table of keyword edition, then what will happen? Your structure, whatever earlier you created, right? That structure which has a capability to hold multiple entries. Now what happened? Your data object is created, LTCust, and LTCust is ready to hold multiple entries. So that is what the difference between type edition and type table of edition. So if you use type edition with followed by your data type, whether it is a globally created structure or a table, then what happened? A structure will be created, and this structure can accommodate only single value. And when you are using type table of followed by your globally created structure or table, then what happened? Your data object will be allocated a memory to store multiple records. That is the difference between type and type table of. And this internal table I can also create in another way. So that is data ltcust type. I will not use table of, so I'll be using this one, stygr t underscore cust. So what is this g stygr underscore t underscore cust? So which is nothing but this is one of the type group component which you have created here. So types followed by your type group name, and type followed by this is the structure you are referring, and occurs 0. So now this is a syntax where it is useful to create internal table type. So this is table type. So when in the global data type group level, if you see a types keyword followed by your type group name, and which is using type keyword and type followed by structure, so this is structure, and structure using occurs and zero edition, then this is a type group. So when you are using a type group, you no need to write type table of. So simply write type followed by your type group name. Sorry, this is table type name. So when you are using table type, then automatically LTCust will be allocated a memory to store data multiple entries using your program. So in both the cases, we are creating internal table only. But what is the difference? In the above case, we are referring structure using type table of. In the below case, we are referring table type using type keyword. That is what the difference. So this structure and table type, if you remember in the data dictionary when we are talking about structures, we discussed, so there are multiple types: flat, nested, and deep structure. So deep structure will be created by using table type. So we first created a table type, and then that table type we have used inside our structure. One second, I think they were checking. Okay, still it is not working. So this is very very important. In our reports, our last time when we discussed, we have used slice events, right? So when we are using slice events, we have created our internal tables with respect to that particular slice type group components. So you may have a doubt. So what is this list and why we are using that list type group components, and why sometimes we are using type table for internal table, and why sometimes we are using type only keyword for internal table creation. So these doubts usually uh, you need to have, then only it will be very easy to work with the any programs. And this is what the backend type group related. So similarly, these type groups through you can also create constants, and that constants you can use it in your program. And only thing is, whenever you are creating anything, type groups are constants, always make sure that type group name must starts with a type group. So the constant name also, it has to start with type group name whenever you are using. That's where in sliss also, whenever you see, always all the object names which starts with sliss underscore. That is what the importance of type group. So I have a program. Let's say in this program I am fetching customer data based on the country. So here, country which is hard coded one, let's assume in my program in SE38 I have written a query: select customer ID and country from KNA1 or GCust table into table IT underscore custom. So this is my internal table where I am moving data. So what is the condition? Where country, which is nothing but land one, equal to which is hard coded one. So this hard coded one I can pass like this to the query. Okay, but it is recommended do not pass within the code's hard coded value. So instead of that, it is recommended to use a constant. Then what we will do, the same query we will write it, but here we will use constant value c underscore in. This is a constant. So how this constant will be created? So constant will be created using constants keyword. Constants c underscore in type. This is customer country, which means land one data element. And whenever you use constants, you have to specify value. Without value, you should not activate your constant. So now what will happen? This select query, it will get only country India information. And where is the value actually? So the value which is coming from constant. So at runtime system, it will pick the constant value that is India and then execute and get the data. So now this constant, where it is created inside the program. And the constant what you have created is a local constant. Local constant means this is applicable only for this program. And I need to write another program. Okay, so in this program also I have some query to get the data based on the country information. Let's say vendor information, vendor ID and country information. And this is from vendor table and into table followed by IT vendor. So here country equal to India. Again they said don't use this hard coded value. Then I'm going and creating a constant, and that constant I'll be using here in the code c underscore in. Now if you observe here, there are two programs, program 1 and program 2. Program 1 which is getting data of a customer based on the country, and another program getting data of a vendor based on the country. And in both the programs you have created a constant, and this constant you have created twice, one for this program and this is for another program. And this constant is called local. Local means it will be created and used, utilized in the same program, and once you are come out from that program, then this constant will be no use. So that is what the local. Okay, so here how many constants you have created in these programs? Each program you have created one constant, right? So now you have go through the review process in your project, and your team lead, when he was looking into your programs, he observed you have created a constant with the same twice in different programs because you have a purpose to use the country India. So when he look into your multiple programs, then he will ask you, if it is the case like you need to create a constant multiple times, why can't you go and create a constant globally instead of local? Which means he wants you to create this constant globally and utilize this constant inside the program. So what is that mean? That is nothing but your team lead asking to create a type group. Inside this type group, he was asking you to create this constant. So G T Y country. So this is what my type group name. Let's assume, okay, CT country. So here in this type group, I'll go and I'll create a constants, and always type a constant name, it has to start with the type group name, otherwise it won't accept. So C underscore IN, and type followed by land1, and value is India. So nothing, same what we have created in locally, in same code we have written in type group level, but only difference is a name of the constant, it has to start with type group underscore. That is only the difference, and remaining everything is same, constant C underscore I1, type land1, value India. Now what is the advantage of this? So the advantage is, no, now you no need to use this declaration. This is not at all required here, both. Then how my code will work? So your code will work, you have to use, instead of C underscore IN, you need to use your type group component name. So G T Y C T underscore C underscore IN. So this is what you are going to do. Now your logic will work? No, your logic will not work if you do like this. So you need to use here uh, types hyphen pool. This keyword you have to add, and then you have to mention your type group name. Type hyphen pool followed by your type group name. So this you have to mention in your each program. So whenever you mention this, you no need to go and create a manual constant art and use that constant, it is not required. So this is you can ignore, and directly this constant what you have created, this will be referred using your type group. So this is your type group. So type groups are called inside the program using types hyphen pool. So that is what the advantage. So what is the advantage? So when you have created a global constant or a global type, so that will reduce usage or dependency of declarations inside the program. Now here there is no declaration itself. Now when you go to the your team lead for a review, now you can see, okay, so you need this constant multiple times you are using, For that you have created a type group, and inside the type group you use this declaration, and that type group name you are using inside your program. Then this makes sense. So created once and you are using multiple times. This is what the reusability. So always when you are writing code, your code must be reusable. No one will not accept to write same code multiple times. So that is what the previous case. So we need a constant. So you have created constant couple of times to use the country value, but that is called using the same logic repeatedly. So you need to avoid that. Whenever you see such kind of logic, you have to make it as a global. So how we can make it as a global? When it comes to declarations, types are constant. You can make those types are constant global using type group. And I'll show you this system once it is connected. So only thing you need to understand, global uh, types and global constants are created using type group. So if you wanted to use those global types or global constants in your program, you have to use this keyword called types-pool followed by your type group name. For standard type groups, if you are not using also, it is okay. System automatically it can understand. But if it is a custom values you are using, then as you need to mention this types-pool. Otherwise, then what happened, if your query is executing, then system says this is unknown. I am not able to understand what is this country after, what is the value. This is unable to understand that. So it will ask you to recheck once what is this declaration. So that is why it is very important. If you wanted to access type group components, you have to mention this keyword called types-pool. Now you can go back and check our PPTs, which is related to reports. And in that reports, you can see multiple places we have used this type group, which is created by SAP. That is not a custom type group. So the name is sliss underscore sliss. This is a type group which created by SAP. Now, if you go to reports, last time report, so if you see this, I have used sliss type group. There is a keyword type-pools sliss. Why we are using this sliss? Because we were using type group component that was sliss underscore fieldcat underscore alv sliss underscore t underscore fieldcat alv. So here if you see, there is a data objects are created. One is internal table, another one is structure. So internal table it underscore fieldcat, this internal table is created. But if you see the syntax, internal table is created only with the type keyword addition. Why? Because this is list underscore t is a table type where it is created in type-pools sliss. So sliss is a type group. You can go to S11 and select the radio button type group and enter this list display. There you can see all the global data types and constant created inside that sliss. So where this list components are created. That's where if you see all the names of the type group slis, which must have to starts with slis underscore. So that's where whenever you create anything, you have to use your type group name underscore, so that the system will accept, otherwise it will throw error. Now we were using slis for what? We need field cat internal table and work area. For that reason we were using it. Whenever you are using, you have to specify at the top type hyphen pools, then only system will understand. So now go back and then check this list and see how the declarations inside, so that you will be having a clarity how this is a internal table and that will be a structure. Because this will be an interview question also. If I wanted to create a internal table using a table type, what is the syntax? So if you wanted to create an internal table using table type, then you have to use data keyword, your internal table type followed by table type. And if you wanted to create an internal table using structure, then you have to say, you have to use data keyword and then your internal table, then you have to use type table of. This is must, then only your internal table will be created. So when you are using structure reference, you have to use type table of. When you are using table type reference, you have to use only type. And then check the PPT, whatever the examples are there. So you just copy the code and then execute, enter, and then execute once and see the results. But when you are practicing, if you see any examples where some numbers or colors related logic is there, so don't spend time on that particular area. If it is a hierarchical report, only your intention has to focus on how an hierarchical report work. Okay, you should not spend time on the colors or any beautiful related thing. If I have written inside this code, don't spend time on that. So adjusting the columns, okay, you no need to spend over there. Only thing is, you have to spend by understanding the function models and the execution of the programs. And whatever it is written here, every line of code you must understood. Okay, that is what the understanding you need to achieve. If it is an interactive report or hierarchical report, so if I wanted to achieve hierarchical report, then you must be aware of the steps. So what is required to achieve a hierarchical report, and if it is possible or not to generate hierarchical report. Because customers, they will come up with a lot of requirements, they don't know possibilities. But as a consultant, you have to check the possibilities. So to design hierarchical report, what is important? Key information. So key is nothing but how the header or the item both are connected. That information is required. If it is not possible, then you cannot build a hierarchical report. So that's understanding how we will get. So whenever you are reading code like a English language, and whenever you are understanding this code like a system. So if I go to a type hyphen pools, I can say, okay, we are referring type group components. When it comes to types begin of end of, I can say there is a structure we are creating with these three components. When it comes to data, using I underscore VBAK with the type table of, I can say I am creating a data objects to store internal table information related to sales order items, and field cat, which is used to pass structure data to our reusable grid display. So this much understanding whenever you have, you can do wonders. So code, it is not written or anyone said that we have to write in this way only. Code, you can write it in multiple ways. One person will write in one way, another person he will write in another way. So ultimately, what is important is customer requirements we need to fulfill. And when you are fulfilling a customer need, you have to write the program logic in a efficient manner and futuristic manner and bug free manner. So futuristic means your code might be help useful for any other scenarios in coming days, which is user not reported now. So in that way you have to write the code. Okay, so when how we can write in that way, whenever you have this basics understanding, fundamental understanding, and whenever you are reading the code, not looking at a code as a code, then these are all things are possible. Okay, for that reason only a couple of times I'm saying, try to understand the code, don't copy or don't try to finish the functionalities. First try to understand the code. If you are unable to understand, if you need some help, approach me. So understanding is more important than writing and then finishing the task. Okay, I'll be stopping with this today. So we have this server issue, let's see what will happen. We will meet again tomorrow. Any doubts so far? Okay, if no questions, bye.